So fake out, make out. Every kiss is a risk. Every mission is a marathon. Charlie is a women's running champion who has had to retire from the sport due to a chronic illness, and she is looking for a fresh start. So she accepts an executive assistant role at her uncle's international sporting event company, Fire. While she can no longer compete, she can still remain part of the sporting world. But there's something about Fire that doesn't seem quite right to her, and she is determined to find out what it is. We then have Declan, the head of Fire's espionage activities, because what sporting events company isn't secretly a front for an undercover spy operation? He is all work and no play, a strict rule follower and complete workaholic, and has absolutely no time for romance. But with the World Games approaching and a mission to uncover a terrorist arms group underway, he has no choice but to bring in reinforcements, recruiting Charlie into the fold. So can their differences, I mean, she trusts everybody except herself, and he trusts absolutely nobody, especially her. Can that be put aside long enough to prevent disaster, or will their undeniable chemistry prove a little too explosive? So when I first read the premise, sports meets spy thriller, I thought, colour me intrigued. And intrigued I was. However, the concept ultimately felt stronger than the execution. Don't get me wrong, it was a refreshing take on sports romance, but in hindsight, I probably should have realised that it might not have been entirely my cup of tea, as sports romance isn't usually a subgenre I gravitate towards. But Charlie's story, I have to say, was particularly well written. It is clear that the author did her research. This portrayal of living with a chronic autoimmune condition and being forced to give up on the career you've built your life around will absolutely, undoubtedly resonate with readers, whether it's through personal experience or empathy. And as for Declan, he is your classic emotionally unavailable workaholic, leaving Charlie to gradually chip away at the walls that he has spent years building around himself. So this was written in dual point of view, which I always enjoy that, and incorporates plenty of those popular romance tropes, enemies to lovers and forced proximity. But unfortunately, the action side fell a little flat. I picked up on several of the twists quite early on, and yes, romance can often be predictable, but for this, it wasn't the kind of predictability that had me eagerly turning the pages. I did find the chemistry between Charlie and Declan slightly forced. Rather than it developing naturally, their relationship often felt more like the narrative was telling me what had happened rather than something I was actually experiencing alongside them. And the espionage plotline felt a little drawn out. For most of the book, the readers are kept in the dark and explanations were arriving quite late, but still remained fairly vague. Overall, this was a unique read, and it was certainly different from what I would usually pick up. The original premise had a lot of potential, but unfortunately for me, it never fully came together. But that said, I can absolutely see why others would enjoy this. It's got romance, it's got action, and at its core, it is sports romance mixed with espionage. That is certainly a combination that is something you don't see every day.